people in the meeting right now. We're expecting more.
I don't know. It's beautiful outside. Anyone in their right mind is taking a lunch hour and going for a walk.
Some of you have heard this story. When I finished my graduate work at MIT, I started doing a real networking job, and all paths left to the Massachusetts Port Authority. And shortly after our first child was born, I went in and said, I'd really like to work part-time. And the director said, no, because we just fired your boss and we want you to be port director. It was the best job in the world. I would still be there if it had been an option, but I got caught in Massachusetts politics. Spent a year in Washington running the National Intermodal Commission. And perhaps the most important observation I would make from the Commission's experience is that the greatest barriers to change and improvement in the system are often institutional barriers, not physical barriers. For a intermodal system, we need a different skill set. We need highly skilled workforce that's cross-trained, that can take a systems perspective and is technologically sophisticated. And when I still had 2 small children in Boston, and I said, I really can't keep commuting to Washington. They said, well, why don't you go to the Volpe Center? I said, what's the Volpe Center? Now, mind you, I'd spent 20 years in transportation in Boston at that point, so the world's best kept secret still. And I figured it would be a good place from which to job hunt to find a real job. And that was 19 and a half years ago.
And there's the cat.
Oh, cute kitty.
Sorry, any of you who wondered, yes, that was my cat who just decided to walk across the keyboard.
What's the kitty's name?
This one's Amelia. Many years ago, someone named her for Amelia Earhart. She has shown absolutely no inclination to fly.
It's remarkable just to look at the boards of my predecessors, of your predecessors, and I'm sure all of those men did a good job. But
the day I was going to have my picture taken, I went to look at the pictures to see what sort of thing you should wear to have your picture taken. Everybody on the wall was wearing a dark suit and a white shirt and a tie, and they were men. Didn't help at all.
It's fitting that this building came about during the NASA days, to be part of this enterprise that President Kennedy called on the American people to do. I think now is a moment that's ripe for that same call. And with your help, I think we're going to have a remarkable new cohort come in that then it'll be up to all of us to cultivate and make sure they can thrive.
Now I want to see the folks who've joined us in the last 10 years. We're on it. I think a huge benefit to being a mentor is to hear things that you might not otherwise hear about what's happening in the organization and what's important to the people who really are the heart and blood of the organization, particularly as you rise to the thin air on the 12th floor. It's very easy to sometimes feel disconnected from the day-to-day life of the Volpe Center, and hearing what's really going on and what the issues are that people are dealing with day to day is something that I value enormously from people who may think they're coming to me to ask for guidance, but I'm really hearing more from them, I think, than probably I'm giving back. And it's a real pleasure to see all of you. I don't know when I've seen the auditorium this full. It's such a pleasure to see so many of you here in person and to see how much you've been enjoying catching up with each other while we waited. Just the noise level was quite extraordinary, and it was just a lot of happy people talking to people they hadn't seen off Teams and Zoom in 2.5 years. So,
you need to recognize that the work environment is usually the last space that people fall apart, because it's so important that we present ourselves as being together. Don't push yourself to the breaking point just to make it seem like, you got it and you can do anything, because none of us can do everything all the time.
So when people talk about career path, it's sort of a foreign concept to me. My advice would be just keep watching the doors that open in front of you. Often when change comes along, particularly if it's change that you haven't sought out, it's possible to spend a lot of time looking regretfully over your shoulder at what's no longer there. And if instead you're facing forward and looking at where there are opportunities, opportunities often show up in the most unexpected places.